Hello, my name's Paul Smith. I'm a Liberal Democrat living in Enfield, and today I'm going to take you on a cycle ride from Enfield Haringey along the A105. As many of you will know, the A105 is one of the areas earmarked for improvement as part of the Cycle Enfield project, or as it previously known, Mini Holland. There's been various discussions from people about parking, different problems to shopping and so forth. And I don't want to address those today, but I do want to just give you a cyclist's eye view of what it's like to cycle down the A105 and where improvements could be made to give a much better cycling experience. Now, these are my contact details. You can get a write-up of this journey if you don't want to watch the whole 20 minutes of it. And the camera works a little shaky, so if you have problems with that, epilepsy or whatever, then I suggest you don't watch much further. But that website has a write-up with some static photographs of the journey. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook as Papa Delta Sierra, and obviously you already found my YouTube channel on Papa Delta Sierra. So we'll be getting on our way in a minute. I'd like to say a thank you to my friend Corey from work for loaning me the helmet. I apologise for the shaky camera work. For loaning me the camera. I apologise for the shaky camera work. It's mounted on my helmet. And it is experiencing all the bumps and bounces that I experience as I cycle down the road. I should also say I'm not a lycra lout. I'm 50 years old, reasonably fit and competent. So here we go. We're setting off out of Enfield, and already I'm having to cycle out into the middle of the road to avoid a parked vehicle. That's the sort of thing that cyclists don't like, especially if you're not very confident or a little bit nervous on the road. And let's face it, we all do, even when driving. Now this is the first junction we go past. This is the junction with Bush Hill. So you can see there's some street furniture, and as the road curves, it's actually quite narrow. I'm quite lucky there's no cars going past here, but it's a bigger problem in the other direction where there's traffic that builds up trying to go into Enfield, and even the buses get stuck behind it. Now, there's not room on the junction probably to get rid of the buses past it, but a cycle path would allow cyclists to zip past that without getting stuck. There's one thing cyclists hate, it's having to stop and restart and stop and restart. It's not like putting your foot on the accelerator, you've got to work hard. And you'll see this a lot as I go along. There's another parked car I have to pull out into the traffic, getting in people's way, just to get past the parked car. I like to pull in to get out people's way again, but here we go again, another parked car, here we go. Now, as you can see, the other side of the road is pretty clear. If we made one side of the road parking, the other side of the road no parking, put in some cycle tracks and space we clear up, I'm not going to be zipping in and out. It's being more comfortable for me, better for the cars behind me are not going to get held up by me. Here we go around. That's another junction. That one's normally not too bad. Next bit of this journey, fairly straightforward as you can see. Just cycling out in the road though, because again, cars parked alternatively either side are forcing me out to use the middle of the road, where there's actually plenty of space available that could be used for a cycle track and make my experience of cycling a lot better. We're going to come up to another pedestrian crossing in a minute. Now, on my return journey, I've got a photo of on the website, the traffic up to the next junction was right back to here. I've been lucky I've missed it, but one of the things about being a cyclist is you really want to be able to get past all of the stuck cars. Cars take up a lot of space on the road, and when they're all backed up, particularly checking out fumes, a good design for cyclists allows them to slip past it down a dedicated cycleway. And we'll see here how Enfield just doesn't have these. We've got two lanes of traffic here approaching this junction, and there's no cycleway at all. Now, quite often there's a long queue on both sections of the junction here, and I'd be stuck behind the cars. I've been lucky today. As you can see, there's no priority zone at the front here for cyclists, and there's no cycleway to get me past any traffic that's stuck there. Again, we're going to be cycling up now up towards Green Dragon Lane. This is a little uphill stretch. Now, if you're in a car, you probably don't realise it. It even looks flat on this video, but in fact I can tell you it's a lot more uphill than you think. And that's one of the things that you need to think about as you watch this video. As a cyclist, what is happening now? I'm fairly fit, I'm going up at a reasonable rate. You'll see by the time I get to the top, I'm going quite slowly. Less fit cyclists, older cyclists, young cyclists, they're going up here quite slowly, and the last thing they want is to pull out into what is very fast fast moving traffic compared to the speed at which the average cyclist will go up here. We're coming past a bus stop here. You saw the bus ahead of me pulling out. Floating bus stops are something which I use quite often to allow cyclists to essentially go up the inside of a stationary bus. They're worth looking up on the web. Where you can fit them in, where you can get the space, they're really good, and they're great for this sort of scenario where buses have to stop there, obviously, but if I'm going up here slowly, which you can see I am from the video, I don't want to stop because of the bus in my way, and I ideally don't want to pull out into very fast-moving traffic. It's not nice for me, it's not nice for the traffic which has got to slow down behind me, because I can be moving quite slowly on a steep hill. But as you can see, again, it's a very wide road. We're very lucky on the A105. It's unusually wide for London, I suppose. But in fact, it's one of the nicest roads to cycle on in Enfield, though I have to say it's a very low bar to aim for. Some of the roads in Enfield are quite horrible to cycle along. So you go around this corner here, past Green Dragon Lane, we're starting to pick up some of the shops now. There's a lot of discussion about parking. Will that help the shops? Will that hinder the shops? You can go and find the discussions about whether it's good or bad as well as I can. My personal feeling is it's not really as bad as people think, and I think the cycling will improve the route so much more than people will actually notice the shops are there for a start. I'll be honest, I drive this route as well as cycle, so I'm going to take the bus. I don't know half the shops along here because I'm busy driving along, keeping an eye on the guy in front. I don't have time to look around. On a bike, you've got time to look around, see what's around you, what shops you might want to visit, get off your bike, park, maybe buy something, perhaps have it delivered if it's big. Now, if you go past the Green Dragon pub, I don't like this particular junction because there's quite often traffic turning right there, and it forces everything down to a little narrow space. And cars do have a tendency to go around that junction a bit too fast. Again, a little space to protect cyclists would be very good. Again, here there's a bus now. The bus can't do anything, he's got to stop. Either a floating bus stop or something similar would be nice here. He's been very nice, he's let me past, he knows to stop in a few hundred yards. Sadly, not all bus drivers are quite that nice, but I have to say the majority are. They do notice cyclists, which is good. Now, the other problem I have along here, which we'll see in a little bit, is that cars don't expect to see cyclists. There aren't enough cyclists around. Now, people sort of say, well, that makes it dangerous for cyclists. As more cyclists get on the road, cars will recognise that they're there, they'll be used to seeing them, it gets much better. If you cycle in somewhere like Oxford, cars expect to see cyclists. In central London, a lot of cars are expected to see cyclists now. Now, here's another junction again. It's a very narrow island. You've got two lanes of traffic coming into it. Quite often the traffic will crimp up to try and take the shortest line. And again, no protection for cyclists. But it was quite a nice junction in terms of there's quite often not too much traffic there. Traffic flows through quite nicely here. The junctions with the traffic lights are a big problem here. Keep your eye on that Jordan van just going past me. You will see just how quickly I can get down this road on my bike compared to the traffic. Because we're basically going to keep pace with him for a good chunk of the road down here, and actually be ahead of him on part of it. And I'm not a super cyclist, I'm not a Lycra, I'm not on a speedy Tour de France bike here. I'm on a very old sort of mountain bike, I'm 50 years old, but cycling can be very, very quick way of transport, very effective way of transport, and that's what we want. That's why we want people on the road, on their bikes, not taking up lots of space in their cars and stuff. Here we go, this lady's about to pull out in front of me. She didn't notice this big, bright yellow coat that I'm wearing. I always make sure I'm seen and safe. Fortunately, she didn't pull out too far, and I saw her, so I was ready for her. Now, street furniture can be a problem. This is a very wide bit of street furniture, as they call it here, for the pedestrian crossing. Cars try to get past me on places like that, and I'm squeezed in. There's no space for me to go, which is not nice. Again, pulling out, parking on both sides, no need for it, plenty of space to put all these cars down the one side of the road, leaving me an extra lane in which to put my bike, my cycle path or whatever. Next bit, as we go along here, this is not too bad, but again we're going to get to another uphill bit. There's going to be a bus stop halfway up, which is going to make me work. As we come up towards a sort of Bourne Hill Hedge Lane junction. which is another junction that I don't like. As you approach it, you'll see there's a lane, and there'll be traffic up here. There's no way for cyclists to get past it. There's no dedicated cycle path, and I've sort of basically got to weave past it. Again, this is why one of the reasons people don't like cycling. They get held up. Cycling does take longer. You are going to go a little slower than a car, but actually, if you can get past all of these hold-ups of these cars, most of which have only got one person in taking up huge chunks of the road, all the pollution, etc., etc., etc. If there's a cycleway that I can get past, I can get down this road faster than the cars can. That's what we want to see. We want quick, efficient journeys, healthy journeys. And I emphasise again, I'm a confident cyclist. So, although you're looking at this and thinking, oh, it's an easy journey, think about, would you be happy doing this journey? Would you be happy with a child doing this journey? So, 12, 14-year-old going to secondary school, say. I've got to say, I wouldn't. I don't like the amount of traffic on here. I don't like the fact that you have to weave in and out of the traffic all the time. It's not pleasant. There's that van again. I'm sneaking past it, past all this stationary traffic, which is just stuck doing nothing at the traffic lights. There's going to be a nasty little car decides to turn left right across 2 lanes of traffic here. Fortunately, I see her and she sees me, so no damage done. And here we go, across the junction now. Again, no cycle priority zone, no cycle way to get to it easily. I have to sneak down the side. Sometimes you just can't even do that. The car's too close to the pavement. They're driving perfectly legally. Another bus stop, we're seeing a few more shops again along here. And again, still the road is very, very wide. There is plenty of space to put provision for cyclists in here. You can go to many cities where you'll find much narrower road with very good provision for cycling. Now, I don't think if you've seen the video about Poynton. If you haven't, go and have a look at it. Poynton, oh, there's that Jordan van again. You can see he's been behind me for quite a while, and I've been keeping pace with him. That's how quickly you can cycle. But Poynton again, Poynton. Go and look it up. It's got some very interesting ideas on essentially slowing traffic down. So peak speed is lower, but the overall journey times are the same because the traffic just moves slowly. Might even be something worth considering along here. Here we are, the Fox Lane Junction. Not too bad actually. The queues are normally pretty short here. It would be nice to have an approach with some cycleways and stuff, but not terrible. And as we go through here on through Palmer's Green, got to stop for the lights. I always stop for the lights. I'm not one of those cyclists who cycles through a red light. I wish people wouldn't. However, whenever somebody complains to me about cyclists doing that, I do have to also say that I quite often see cars doing the same thing when I'm on foot. That annoys me just as much. Jordan's van again. There he goes. I find it quite interesting actually. I quite often follow buses along here, and I can get along here faster than a bus even, which is always nice. So you can see again, there's plenty of room on either side of the road. Obviously, shopkeepers might tell me there'll be a bit more parking later than there will. But I still think there's plenty of room to put in some cycle paths. Help people pass. Now you see here the combination of the road getting just a tiny bit narrower, the bollards and stuff in the middle of the road, they've forced all the traffic together, and I'm stuck behind all the cars again. It's a little uphill stretch as well, just to add to my exercise for the day. And this is what good cycle planning avoids. It avoids the cyclist stopping as much as possible. You want to keep going. You want to use that momentum you've built up with your own energy and stuff, and just keep going. Efficient cycling. Now as we squeeze past all this traffic which is trying to block the junction, we're going to get to the most frustrating bit of the journey. We're coming up towards the Broomfield Lane Oakthorpe Road junction, and we're about to hit a little bus lane, and obviously we like bus lanes. Cyclists can zip down them unencumbered by traffic, and as you can see there's a lot of traffic about, not even this time of morning. Unfortunately, just as we get to the junction, the bus lane ends, and we're now stuck behind all the traffic again. Now, it's actually a lot better this morning than it has been in previous weeks. I think I'm a little late, unfortunately. I had a puncture before I set out, and so I've missed the worst of the rush. Quite often what I find is you can see I'm weaving my way through here because there's no bus lane. It would be nice to have a little no cycle lane. nice little cycle lane through the middle and horizontal front up in front. Quite often I hit here, and there's traffic even in this block here, all trying to, cheated to come down the road and try to get across, and I'm stuck. And you can see the bus lane here is helping me get through. A cycle lane on the rest of the road will help me avoid traffic like this as well. So we're whipping down towards the North Cirque now, almost at the end of the journey. I'm only going to go literally to the Haringey boundary. Again though, here you go, we're getting close to the junction and the bus lane ends, and now I'm stuck with all this traffic. There's just very little planning, and you'll see they add insult to injury in a minute when we get down very closer to the junction. As I said, most bus drivers are considerate. Unfortunately, here's somebody who decided to block that little keep clear block. But unfortunately, sneak around him. Can you see the cycle path? Can you see the cycle lane? Can you see it? Can you see it? There it is, half hidden by the bus. And in fact, there is a priority take zone frontier for cyclists. Just almost impossible to get to. Quite often we end up having to cycle on the other side of the road to get to it. And as you can see, I'm not alone cycling down here. Cyclists all move at about the same pace, so unless we get caught up at junctions, you don't see big groups of people. But if you start counting them as they go past, you'll find a surprising number of people do cycle. And if you go into central London, you'll see there's plenty of scope for a lot more people to cycle. Here again, there's a problem as we get towards Haringey. Lots and lots of parked traffic, and there's this big block of zigzag hash stuff in the middle, which we're sneakily using to get past. We shouldn't. We should be really on a proper cycle path. We're probably doing something illegal here, to be honest. But as you can see, properly designed road, the cyclists can get past. We can get to our journey without being held up by all these polluting cars who are just stuck there. And I'll be honest, I'm a car driver myself. I take all sorts of transport, horses for courses, as they say. But if you can avoid taking the car, take your bike often to work, have a nice leisurely ride, no hold up, stuck behind traffic unnecessarily. You're fitter, you're healthier, it's a healthier city. That's what we're looking for, a healthier Enfield. Now we're pretty much coming to the end of the ride here again, but you can see that the traffic is moving over, pinching up just a little bit as it goes past all these little bollards in the middle. Maybe we can slow the traffic down going through here, so we don't have to have these bollards, have some of these little raised areas for crossing instead, maybe. Thank you, bus driver, let us all go past there. We're coming up pretty much to the end, and this is where I sign off. So think again. Don't just look at this and think, oh yeah, you had a really easy journey, that was no problems at all there. Let's just say, I'm confident, I'm a competent cyclist. Think about it, would you like to drive this journey with me? If the answer is no, then things need to be done, and I think they do. I think it can make a much better journey. Those are my contact details. If you go to the website, you'll be able to get my email as well, or you can contact me through Twitter and Facebook. Very much look forward to hearing from you, whether your views are positive about Cycle Enfield or negative. Please do let me know. Thank you again for watching.